Evening and welcome once again to Gaming Under the Influence. I'm Mike here with Alex, coming to you from Green Dragon in Woodbridge to talk about video games. How are you, bud?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good, man. How about you?
I'm not so bad. Been a busy few weeks since we last spoke. I played through a number of...
It's been a while since we recorded anything.
Yeah, been playing a number of games, new and old, and I think you have too.
Yeah, I've been sort of jamming out on Expedition a little bit, but kind of took a detour and went into Gears of War Reloaded a little bit.
Very nice.
It's been pretty fun.
That's cool, man. I think since we last spoke, I played a game called Karma: The Dark World from earlier this year, which I enjoyed a lot. I played Silent Hill 2
that's
on an emulator.
On the emulator,
it was pretty fantastic also. Getting myself ready for Silent Hill F later this month, which I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, definitely.
But the most interesting thing, the thing I enjoyed the most that I played recently was actually Daemon X Machina, Titanic Scion. Something that we talked about in some of our previous videos, I think after the game show earlier in the year.
Yeah, this one's a little bit out of left field. I don't think it's the most popular thing that's been released this year, but
probably not the most popular.
Deserves some coverage for sure.
It definitely does. And I don't know if it's the most critically well-received game of this year either. I think it's sitting at a 70 on Metacritic, but to my estimation, it deserves a much higher score because it's all around a fantastic game. It's a lot of stuff packed into there, and honestly, there should be for the price tag.
Yeah, that's right.
Something that surprised me was that here in Canada, it's actually $100.
It's crazy.
Strange and unusual. I think the only other thing I've seen that high is the upcoming
Switch
Silent Hill game and some Switch stuff. Yeah,
Switch 2 games have been up to 99.
It's pretty crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, Daemon X Machina, Titanic Scion is, in my opinion, much better than the game it's a sequel to, which I enjoyed, but not enough to get through.
Yeah, I played a lot of, maybe not a lot, but I played a bit of the first one, and I did enjoy it, but same, not enough to really get through the whole entire thing.
It's a likable game, and it has a lot of qualities that would draw me to it, but yeah, it did really strike me when I played it, which was right after Armored Core 6. Incidentally, as like Armored Core Light. Armored Core with an anime coat of paint, and for that reason, I kind of put it down and went on to other things, but this game really does a lot to set itself apart from what people would compare it to, and I think the biggest difference is the fact that unlike in the first game, unlike in Armored Core, you're not actually controlling a mech in this game. You're a character in a powered armored suit, kind of like Iron Man, or like the characters in Anthem.
Yeah.
And if I had to explain this game to somebody, short form, I would say something like it's as though Anthem were actually good.
It's a good version of Anthem.
Yeah, it's a good version of Anthem with a storyline that's actually worth paying attention to, and most importantly, just excellent and engrossing moment-to-moment gameplay. This is on so many different levels, and I think the first thing that really makes it cool is the fact that it's got this open world structure set across 3 fairly large maps, 4 maybe by the end, and you can fly pretty much everywhere all the time.
That's pretty sick.
It's fantastic. Yeah,
that's great.
Maybe in this it apes Armored Core 4 answer. I can't really think of any other. Maybe the first Daemon X had this as well. There was a lot of flying, but here that's a gigantic part of every battle and every moment that you're playing inside of your armored suit. Traversing the world is just a lot of fun, you know?
Yeah. That's important. That's good.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And the levels are designed with a fair degree of verticality. They have stuff hidden at higher levels, and there's some underground areas too. And
nice.
You're always thinking about movement in this game. It's something we talked about in the past, how progression in a game, when it involves a sense of increasing mastery over space within a virtual world, it really lends you a sense of satisfaction as you work through the game. And that's definitely the case here. You know, it's a lot of fun tweaking your build to account for how you fly about space, and between heavy and light builds there's a big difference between how your mech controls, so it's not even going to be the same experience for everyone who's playing the game, depending on how you outfit your power armored suit. It's called an arsenal in this game.
Oh, nice.
You know, and aside from the movement, which is fantastic, and like I said, it does differ between builds, there's just the fact of building. You know, that's something that they did take from the previous Daemon X or from Armored Core, and I think some of the people involved in this game did in fact work on the Armored Core series in the past.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Some of the mech designers I think were involved too. Building your mech is of course a huge draw in a game like this, building your arsenal, your armored suit.
Right. And
you can outfit the character with all kinds of different armor from heavy to light, you know, and everything in between, with shoulder weapons, hand weapons, with an auxiliary item like a grenade or an extra booster or something like that. Right. And a big draw is, of course, exploring the open world. looking for the enemies or the bosses that drop the parts you want to equip your mech with.
Okay.
And it really makes it cool to stumble upon a boss in the open world. There's like world bosses and stuff, and the first thing you think to yourself is, I wonder what I'm going to get for fighting this guy.
Yeah.
What kind of stuff does he drop that I'm interested in putting on my mech? So
almost like a Monster Hunter type thing. Where
yeah.
Farm parts off of bosses and stuff like that.
It really does seem like that, actually. Like a cross between a mech game and a Monster Hunter game.
That's sick.
You can tell they were somewhat influenced by Monster Hunter in constructing their open world and how each one has an ecosystem and the bosses inhabit certain parts of the map and stuff like that. So it's fantastic, man. But yeah, I really like flying around and building my mech, you know, and you can choose the coat of paint that goes on your guy. You can outfit it in pretty much any way you can conceive, and there's just such build diversity. I finished the game on hard mode and I enjoyed it a lot, but haven't gotten to the end. There's still so much that I didn't do yet.
I bet. Yeah, the game
lots of stuff to find. Yeah,
packed with content, right? Which is good.
There's even an end game boss that requires you to like fly 8 real world hours up some tower to fight him at the top, which of course I didn't do at this time, but
that's crazy.
Yeah, there's just lots of stuff in there, man. Another thing this game makes me think of is something we've talked about in the past, and that's the fact that a lower technological spec can really open up the field for the designer to build crazier things.
Yeah, that's a big point we like to sort of put out there a lot, because at the end of the day, game budgets have exploded over, you know, the past decades or so, whatever.
Yeah.
And one way to kind of avoid that and keep things grounded is to just not go after photorealistic graphics, right?
Graphics, that's right.
Exactly. If you stay in this like anime looking range, you can still make something beautiful that has a nice art style, but can also carry your idea. Like these guys are flying around in this, you know, open world. It looks amazing. It's incredible.
It does.
Right?
In motion and with the art style, it looks really satisfying. There's no point where I sat there and I was like, oh, this looks bad, man.
Yeah. Like if you really analyze some of the textures, you could probably pick out some that look, you know, subpar in some ways, but like who cares, right? You're not looking at it with a magnifying glass. You're looking at the whole thing, and like, look, some of these bosses look sick too. Like the whole package looks amazing, basically, right?
It does. That's right. I saw some reviewers complaining about the fact that a lot of the textures look like they're from PS3 or something like that. But like, I don't know, man. Sitting around looking at the rocks and the dirt and thinking to yourself, really, I wish these looked better as you're...
Yeah, like what's the abuse of that? What does that do for you? You know, it's the same reason we don't care for Metal Gear Solid Delta, because it's just a shiny coat of paint on an otherwise good game that you can already play anyway, right? It's just literally looks nicer. Like what else is there, right? Nothing.
To my estimation, everybody's working with a limited set of resources and dumping resources into highly textured dirt or something like that.
Yeah, what's the point,
resources
right?
You're taking away from conceiving and building an interesting world that's excellent for the player to just navigate in terms of its feel. So I really like what they did in this case. You know, it recalls like something like the Xenoblade series to my mind, where they're working with a lower technological spec in order to be able to design a much more expansive and interesting to explore world. And probably, you know, something like Xenoblade Chronicles X, which also came out on Switch this year, would be worth revisiting, because that's a mech game too in many ways. With some flying in it. So getting through this definitely made me want to check that out. But yeah, man, like I think that this was wisely designed. I guess that's why I'm bringing up the technological spec at all. You know, the way that they chose to allocate their resources, it seems to me like everything went in the direction that, as a player of games, I would prefer resources to go towards, you know?
Yeah, I mean, cutting edge graphics can only take you so far, you know. Things can look nice, but at the end of the day, it's not what this is all about. And for guys, you know, people like us who've been playing games for pretty much the last 30 years, our entire lives, like we've seen the worst of the worst graphics, and the point where we're at now, almost everything looks good. You know,
it really
doesn't need to be cutting edge. It doesn't need to.
No, photorealism is trite. It's boring.
And it doesn't age as well as stuff like this. You know, look at something like Wind Waker on the freaking GameCube. 20 years later, it still looks incredible because of the art style carries in. The same thing will happen with these Daemon X games.
Yeah.
You play them 20 years from now, and they'll look just as good, right?
I think that's a good point. The art style here is really strong, and I think the graphics that they did choose are excellent for expressing it. Like, a cool thing about this game is that they have these futuristic and mechanical looking power armor suits that your character's wearing, but there's also this element of like bioorganic monstrosities everywhere. Like your own character over the course of the game, you know, I mentioned build diversity. One thing you can do is you can take genes off of enemies. These like fusion factors, I think they're called.
Okay.
And you can take them back to base. You have this home base, and there's a lab there, and you can unlock abilities. You see on the screen here, it says fusion factors. You collect a number of them off of enemies, you take them back to base, and different combinations of them unlock different abilities for you to use while you're in your power armor. But as you unlock these, your character begins to physically mutate, the character you designed at the beginning of the game. Yeah, so underneath your armored suit by the end of the game, if you're going crazy with these, your guy's going to look like some kind of Resident Evil horror. Like,
oh wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, so there's this real interesting meeting of different art styles and themes in a visual sense that I find interesting. And, you know, I feel like if you were to look at some of the character designs from this game, some of the monsters that you fight against in this game, you'd instantly be able to pick them out because of the way that those elements come together. So whatever you think of the technological specifications and the textures on the dirt or whatever, it's easy to tell what this game is. It has its own distinct visual identity, and I think it's really strong in that respect. You know, there's very few things that play like it, where you have that kind of freedom of movement. There's very few things outside the genre that it's tentatively a part of, where you have the kind of build diversity you do in this game. And there's definitely very few things that look like it. So all of these come together to make a pretty fantastic package, in my opinion. I enjoyed playing it a lot. I think I finished it over the course of 8 days or 9 days or something like that.
You ran through this one pretty quick. I was kind of surprised, actually.
Yeah, and I couldn't put it down, really. It was a fantastic game. And there's a lot of other features that you'd probably be familiar with from games like Armored Core 6 if you played recent mech games. Like there's an arena, for example, of ranked matches where you have to fight from 30 to 1, and each guy gets stronger, and you know, you got to really tailor your build in order to counter the abilities that the guy you're fighting in the arena has. And that's another actually interesting and strong thing about this game is it's definitely not like a one build fits all, fits every situation type thing. Like you're expected to go and fight an enemy and assess with your scanner or by noticing their abilities, like what kind of counters you could build in order to succeed against them.
Yeah, I feel like even in Armored Core 6, which I really liked, I found that there was almost like an easy meta build that you could just, you know, throw onto your mech. I think it was like 2 of the mega machine guns and
the miniguns,
the miniguns, and then you could pretty much just run through the rest of the game like that, right?
That's what I used.
You could experiment a little more if you wanted to, but there almost seemed like there wasn't really a reason.
There was like an optimal loadout for every situation.
Exactly. Here
it did feel like that to me too, anyways. Yeah,
it doesn't seem to be the case here, where there's, you know, a lot more going on. There's all kinds of melee weapons I'm seeing, a lot of swords, different
there's everything:
guns,
sniper rifles, swords, laser cannons, shotguns, rifles, everything that you can think of, there's an option here.
And I guess it's all viable, right, to some degree?
It's viable. Probably there's an end game build using most of the different kinds of weapons. Like there's a best case scenario for each weapon,
right?
And even when you go fight a boss and you fail, you know, there's sometimes like a tooltip that comes up on the screen saying like this or that thing will counter the ability of the boss you're fighting. So it's very clear that the designers intended you to go in and experiment with different things in each situation.
Yeah, not just find that meta build and carry it through the rest of the game, right?
And to that end, they make it easy for you to go and change up your gear in places around the world without going back to your base.
Oh, that's interesting too. Okay,
there's like consumable items you pick up over the open world that allow you to activate these like these points on the map where you can adjust your loadout without going back to base, and you can pay a little bit to heal yourself without going back. So
that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's a really well designed game in that respect. Really thoughtful.
It's not as like structured as the first one or Armored Core 6, where you go on a mission then come back to base. Kind of like you're kind of more free flowing around this open world. And that sounds.
That's one of the strengths of the open world.
Yeah,
system,
I mean, for a game where you're flying around in like an Anthem style mech, like an Iron Man thing, it makes sense, right?
It does.
It's pretty cool, rather than just dropping into a map. Again, not that I didn't like Armored Core 6 or anything, but to distinguish itself from being anime Armored Core, it seems like they've done a good job at that, right?
One thing I really liked about the way the open world compares to mission design in other mech games is that it does encourage you to just explore the world, to have fun, just like being out in the world.
Zip around.
You're not just getting from point A to point B. You're just kind of, like you said, free form, just roaming about and enjoying the abilities that you've unlocked on your mech. And
that's cool.
Yeah, you find world bosses, you find like secret labs that have gear for you to pick up. There's even these like things you pick up from broken mechs in the world, and you can take them back to base and decode them and stuff.
Oh, cool.
And it gives you like the location of some cache of special loot or something like that.
Yeah, it sounds like they carefully designed, you know, the reason for it being an open world or whatever, not just like, hey, we're gonna just make it open world, but they kind of made the right decisions and took the right steps to, implement this open, because the first one wasn't open world. It was more like Armored Core with the just missions and like set maps and whatever.
Yeah.
So for them to make the change, they had to obviously make other changes, and it sounds like they,
to my estimation, they were really successful in that respect.
Well thought out and stuff like that, right?
And I like the story and the world building too. Actually, there's a bunch of different. I mentioned before, like bioorganic monstrosities. I think this isn't set on the planet Earth. It's set on some other planet, and there's been wars between people and these mutated people who can no longer reproduce. And the story centers around this woman who's capable of having outer children, outers being the mutated humans who are previously infertile. So it's got like elements from like Children of Men and like a number of other sci-fi things we've seen in the past, but
that's interesting.
Wraps them all up in this like anime inspired kind of soap opera-y package that it's really fun to experience the story.
Nice.
I like most of the characters. I like the fact that some of them fly around with you and have like conversations almost like party members in a Western or Japanese RPG. So
nice.
Yeah, man, there's a lot of cool stuff. And, even the way that you can farm bosses for specific gear loadouts is somewhat interesting, because instead of making you, go back somewhere to do it, they even have like a terminal that unlocks in the base where you can choose to repeat bosses that you've fought before.
And you can still get the...
Yeah, and they drop everything they would have dropped. Yeah.
Okay, that's nice. That's good.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And when I wanted a set of gear from a boss, I was able to get it after like 5 or 6 attempts. It's... in that respect, very much like Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
Except instead of having to venture out and complete the whole hunt, you just log in from a terminal. Yeah. So all around, this game, like, compared to everything else I played this year, it's probably not my favorite game I played this year. I really liked Expedition 33 and Death Stranding 2, and I liked a couple of the Souls-likes too. Those are perhaps more up my alley in terms of my genre preferences, but this is probably the one I'm going to remember most strongly from this year.
Yeah, probably because it kind of surprised you, right? Like we didn't think we'd hate it, but
really came out of left field.
This strong and really enjoy it. It was it's kind of like a nice hidden gem, right?
That's right. And I think you can tell what it was inspired by, but the way everything comes together is really unique.
Yeah,
makes it unlike most of the things that it's aping, whereas something like Wu Chang, which I immensely enjoyed, it's a Souls-like straight up. Death Stranding 2 is a sequel to Death Stranding. All the systems are intact,
we're gonna
right?
Like that, yeah.
Kazan was also just a really high quality Souls-like.
Right, yeah.
Maybe Expedition 33 is the exception to that, where it does some really original things with its sources of inspiration. But
yeah, that game is like going to be Game of the Year.
I think it's going to win a lot of Game of the Year awards. I would be very surprised if it didn't win at the Game Awards Game of the Year, actually. Yeah. What else is going to compete?
But yeah, it's cool that given how the first one turned out, which wasn't bad.
No, it wasn't bad at all.
But I think they kind of went back to the drawing board a little bit and wanted to diversify this game, and they came out with an even better sequel, right?
It was somewhat less interesting and original than this game.
Yeah.
Yeah, just getting through the story was compelling to me, and I wanted to see it through for its own sake, and also because just playing the game was so much fun.
Yeah.
Usually I'm not focused on just the simple moment-to-moment sensation of playing something, but here that definitely took center stage. It was just an incredibly enjoyable experience.
Yeah.
Flying about, fighting things with your crazy build, and going back and tweaking it, and even changing the paint scheme on your mech, and seeing your character mutate as you unlock new powers for him. It was all a really compelling package. So I guess I'd suggest not sleeping on this game.
Yeah.
Whatever you think of the graphics, and for me, like I said, I think their choice to go with this technical specification in order to favor the expansiveness of the world and all these other elements, it was a wise decision.
Yeah, definitely.
But I'm fairly convinced anybody would be able to look past that pretty quickly as soon as they picked up a controller and experienced this game a little bit. It's an incredibly strong package, and it verifies a lot of the ideas we've thrown about over the years about game design, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
How iteration is better than simply making a sequel that directly replicates the systems and the storyline and all the stuff from your old game, right?
Yeah, that's the other thing. It's not like it's a sequel, but not like a direct sequel in terms of story, right? It's its own thing that you can start playing at 2 if you wanted. It's not even called, Daemon X Machina 2. It's just has a totally different title. So kind of went the Final Fantasy route that we also hype up a lot, or just
it's a good way to put it.
You use the name, but not make it a direct sequel with the same characters. It's a totally new thing, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
it's just a really beefy package too. There's a lot of fun to be had with it, and a lot of time you could spend playing it if you want to go through all of the side missions. Never mind collecting all the abilities and weapons and stuff like that. That would take forever.
Yeah.
So yeah, don't sleep on this game. Check out Daemon X Machina, Titanic Scion. In my opinion, definitely one of the best games that came out this year, though I'm certain that's not going to be a widespread opinion.
Probably
reasons.
not, but
yeah,
do it. Give it a try. It's a
wonderful game with a lot of heart and a lot of fun to be had.
Yeah, it deserves some attention for sure.
Yeah.